Carolyn Kruger is suing her brother, Kevin Perks, for his share of their mother's funeral. Carolyn says Kevin is the only sibling who refuses to pay.
Miss Kruger, Mr. Perks is your brother.
Yes, he is.
And your claim is that he is responsible for a portion of your mother's funeral expenses.
That's correct.
Mr. Perks says he is not responsible for any portion of your mother's funeral expenses. When did your mother pass away?
April 22nd, 2007.
And it is my understanding that her primary asset was a life insurance policy. Is
That's
that correct?
correct.
Did she have any other assets other than this life insurance policy?
She had a few $100s in a bank account that I used to pay for the nursing home.
Other than the life insurance policy, did she have a home? Did she have a car?
No.
Did she have bonds? Anything else?
No.
Life insurance policy?
Yes.
And how much was the life insurance policy?
I don't know the total amount. We each got a portion of it. It was $2,082.74 a piece, times 8. So a little over $17,000.
And insurance policy, I assume it was from work? Or...
Correct. It came out of her pension.
So it was a pension?
Right.
And it is also my understanding from your complaint that there was no named beneficiary on the policy.
That's correct.
So far, are we correct on that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
So, only asset is a $17,000 life insurance policy, correct?
Yes.
You have 7 siblings.
That's correct.
Correct. Your mother did not have a will.
No, she did not.
So you decided, I assume, that you had been taking care of her business?
Correct.
You didn't object to that?
I didn't object. I didn't know I was objecting to because she never consulted me on anything.
Don't give me a lot of baloney.
Carolyn Kruger says her brother, Kevin Perks, refuses to pay his share of their mother's funeral. Kevin says he shouldn't have to.
Now, when you went to visit her, did you take charge of her medical care, of overseeing her stay in the nursing home? Did you take care of her other business, or did you just go and visit her?
I just went and visited her.
So you knew somebody had to be taking care of that.
That's correct.
And who did you think was taking care of that business?
Carolyn.
There we go. And you didn't object to that?
No, I did not.
Perfect. Now, you did receive a portion of this life insurance, did you not?
That's correct.
How much did you receive?
$2,076 and some change. I don't know the exact amount.
When your mother passed away in April of 2007, did she pass away in the same town where you live?
Yes.
Did you go to the funeral?
Yes.
Did you put on a suit?
Yes.
You married?
Fiance.
Did your fiance go with you?
Yes, she did.
Do you have children?
Yes, we do.
Did you bring your children to the funeral?
Yes.
So they went to their grandmother's funeral?
Yes.
Were there flowers at the funeral?
Yes.
Was there a grave site that you went to?
Yes.
Did you ever stop to say to yourself, who's paying for this? Mr. Perks,
No.
Did you ever stop to say to yourself, who's paying for this?
Yes.
Did you think the burial fairy was paying for it?
No.
No. So you knew that somebody had to be paying for it.
That's correct.
Okay. And who did you think? Put your hand down. Who'd you think that was?
The life insurance policy.
Right. Look how smart you are. You thought that her life insurance policy was paying for it, right?
That's
Put
correct.
your hand down. It did. All your brothers and sisters kicked in from the life insurance policy to pay for the funeral, except you. That's what the case is all about. Now, your sister could very easily have said, I am going to take all the proceeds of this life insurance policy, and I'm going to pay the $6,000 for Mom's funeral, and whatever is left over, I'm going to give it to my brothers and sisters. Right?
That's correct.
Well, that's what you thought happened. Instead, your sister decided to do what she considered the right thing, which was name each of you as a beneficiary on the life insurance policy. You all got your money, and everybody divided the $6,000 or whatever it was for the funeral and sent her a check for their portion. Go!
Well, Your Honor, the life insurance policy, normally most life insurance policy, they have a provision, or the funeral home has an agreement where you can have a form filled out to have the life insurance policy paid for it, the funeral expense itself. She never told me about this expense whatsoever. A week after I got the check, I never heard anything from her, never agreed to it, never paid anything. She didn't consult me about it, nothing.
So? And your point would be?
I should have been consulted further on...
I'm consulting you right now. I'm consulting you. Who's supposed to pay for your mother's funeral? Not you. You have no legal obligation to pay for your mother's funeral. None. But you have no right to accept full proceeds of a life insurance policy, which by law is supposed to pay for her funeral expenses before it's dispersed to any beneficiary. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. So it was done a little bit backwards. Instead of taking the money out and then put your hand down. Does it sound like you're losing?
No, I'm sorry.
So instead of taking the $6,000 out and paying for the policy and then distributing it to you, she distributed it to the siblings and then says, okay, brothers and sisters, now send me a check. It's the same thing. Do you understand?
Yes.
You don't have to be consulted about that, sir. This one wants to say something. I'm just dying to hear what she has to say. Dying to hear what she has to say.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but during the funeral and everything that was at the funeral, as far as the casket, the flowers, anything, Kevin was not allowed or invited to pick any of that stuff out.
Was he invited to pick out who the nurses were going to be at his
No,
mother?
Your Honor.
Pay attention to what I'm saying to you. Was he consulted and did he make himself responsible for his mother's care in the nursing home where she was?
He had no choice.
Of course he had a choice. Did he have a choice to pick you?
Yes.
Then he had a choice to pick where his mother went and who took care of her and participating in her care. He chose not to do that. Just as he chose, madam, listen to me very carefully. He chose to let somebody else take the responsibility for picking out a casket, for picking out flowers. It was not as if he wasn't invited to the funeral. He went with you and his children. He just made himself dumb, which I have a feeling isn't much of a stretch. You owe your sister your share of your mother's funeral. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. How much was it?
$750.
Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Amanda Peters claims ex-roommate Holly Ward owes for breaking an apartment lease, stealing money from her wallet, and for damaging her car.
Ms. Peters, you and Miss Ward were roommates. It is your claim that after a failed road trip that didn't work out as well as you expected, Ms. Ward decided to stay home.
Yes.
And she left you in the lurch with the lease. You want her to pay the rent. In addition, you say that she stole some money from you and that she at some point damaged your car. You want her to pay for that.
Yes.
Ms. Ward says she was pregnant, decided to stay home with her parents, I assume, that she denies taking any of your money, and she says that the damage to the car just didn't happen. She also says that your boyfriend moved in with you into the apartment and he wasn't paying his fair share of the rent. So, is this your boyfriend?
Yes.
How many people signed the lease to the apartment?
2. Me and Holly.
Did Holly have a boyfriend living with her?
No.
Or your boyfriend was living with you?
He wasn't living there. He was.
Yeah, he is.
yes,
he
he
lives
was.
there. He lives there. Don't tell me he wasn't living there. He lives there.
Okay.
Don't speak unless I speak to you. You want me to get the address that you listed, sir, when you filled out the forms for this program?
Yes.
Do you want me to get the forms that you filled out with the
Yes,
address?
I put 718.
And who lives there?
My mother,
What's your mother's phone number?
she doesn't have a phone.
Oh, everybody has a phone,
But
sir.
there's a number you could reach her at, but she don't have a phone herself.
You get what I'm saying to you, madam?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. When did you sign this lease with the defendant?
On December 1st, 2006,
And when did you take this road trip?
in the beginning of April, like April.
April
15th.
15th
Where's the father of this baby that you're having?
in Ohio,
And where are you living now?
Alabama.
Who went on the road trip?
The 3 of us.
Whose car did you use?
Amanda's.
You got stopped and you were all arrested for drug possession, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
What happened with your case?
I got 2 years probation.
What about you?
I just got charged as a misdemeanor and got fined. She got charged with all that because she was pregnant.
I got charged
Doing
with a
drugs while
misdemeanor
she
and got
was
a
pregnant.
We all 3 got, well, me and Amanda got charged with possession too.
And what about you?
I did 31 days because wouldn't nobody sign for me.
Now, he got 30 days because he had prior possessions.
No, I got 30 days. That is untrue, Your Honor.
Now, what is the rent?
It's $500 a month.
Stand up. Your last name?
Lucky, L-U-C-K-E-Y.
I'm not so sure.
I heard that.
Who do you work for?
I work for Ford.
What do you do for them?
We call offices.
What kind of work do you do, Miss Peters?
I'm a waitress.
Fine. Mr. Lucky,
Yes.
you may have to kick in for some rent, sir. Do you understand?
I wasn't standing there at the time.
Well, now
Yes, he was.
Now, just a second. Just a second. Now you can stay there.
Well, she shouldn't have signed
Lucky.
my lease.
Mr. Lucky, when did you arrive from Ohio?
We arrived
The
Tuesday.
24th.
You arrived Tuesday.
Yesterday.
Shh.
Yes.
And where are you staying?
I'm staying at the Sheraton Hotel.
And where are you staying, Miss Peters?
At the Sheraton Hotel.
In the same room?
Yes.
And when you go back to Ohio, you're going to go back and stay with your mother. Is that what you're telling me?
And yes,
I'm
after
giving you
this case
permission. You
matter.
could stay with Miss Peters.
I didn't
And now
want to
you're
stay
going to
with
pay.
her because
And now
of
you're
this
going to pay
issue.
the rent. Sit down. Who brought the marijuana into the car?
All three of us did.
It wasn't mine.
No.
All
Holly
three of
did.
us did. All three
Holly
of us
did.
did. We all three went to jail for the possession.
It's not what I asked you. I said, who brought it into the car?
Holly.
Holly.
Lucky. I didn't. Lucky sells marijuana.
Oh, okay.
That's
No,
his
no,
job
that's
prior
a lie.
to
Not
2
true.
months before. He didn't have this job now.
That's a lie. She
Now,
made that up.
shh. Now, when is your baby due?
I already had him.
You already
June
had your baby.
29th, yes.
And who's taking care of your baby now?
My mother.
Baby healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Weren't stupid enough to smoke marijuana while you were pregnant,
Actually, I
were
was.
you? Yeah.
That's how she got 2 years.
That's,
Was drinking and a whole bunch of other stuff she
I
did
didn't
while she
drink
was
with my
pregnant.
baby. My baby was perfectly
Yes, you
healthy,
did.
born 4 weeks early, didn't need anything. 6 pounds, 8 ounces.
great. Okay. So now, Miss Peters,
Yes.
now you have your boyfriend living with you. How big is this apartment, by the way?
It's a 2-bedroom apartment.
Well, Your Honor, at first, when I first moved in with Amanda, it was in March of 2005. Lucky moved in June of 2005. We were all living in a 1-bedroom apartment. Then his cousin moved in, Lewis, with his baby mama, Shataya. We all 5 lived there. I still paid half the rent.
Just
they
a
didn't pay
second.
nothing.
No.
Just a second. How long?
And
Quiet.
his cousin got a job at our job.
Just a second. How long did his cousin and his
They lived
baby
there.
mama live there?
They lived there
What?
from October till December when we got our 2-bedroom and they got their 1-bedroom apartment.
What's your cousin's name?
My cousin's name is Lewis, and he was not living there.
Yes, he was, Your Honor.
Listen,
Okay,
I am
he'll
very,
manage
very
from day
unhappy
one.
about
Yeah.
this whole situation. All I can tell you, Miss Peters, is now you can have your boyfriend full-time. Your boyfriend of 6 years full-time. He's going to live with you and he's going to pay the rent. You get nothing from her. Next.
What?
Now, let's talk about this stolen money. You say that she stole money from you.
Yes.
You
No,
know
from
this.
her and her
Shh,
boyfriend.
I don't want to hear you.
Okay.
I'm not happy with you either. Anyone who smokes dope while they're pregnant is an idiot. Now, tell me about this alleged money.
All right. I gave my boyfriend $300 to put up for me. I was going to put my car in the shop and have some work done to it. Well, I picked him up one night. He was going to come spend the night with me. The wallet came up missing that night while he was at the house. Yeah, I went to drop him off the next morning, and the wallet wasn't there.
And?
And he said it was Holly all along. I mean, I really didn't think it was at first, but I found the wallet in her room when I was cleaning it out after she left.
Where's the wallet?
It's right here.
Let me see it.
Can I?
Shh.
Okay.
When, for the first time, did you tell Holly about the missing wallet?
I didn't tell her.
You didn't tell her.
No, she was in Alabama when I found it.
You didn't call her?
No.
No, I'm not saying when you found it. Listen to me. Miss Peters, when the wallet came up missing, she had to have been there. Otherwise, how could she
Yeah.
get it? Not from Ohio to Alabama.
No,
she has
it
that
was
very
months
long
ago.
arms. Now, so when did you first discuss with her the fact that this wallet was missing?
Oh, it was around the time when we moved into our 2-bedroom apartment. So
And
around
how long did you
December-
live in the 2-bedroom apartment?
I'm still there now. So from December until now,
How long did she live there?
until April 15th.
So the wallet came up missing in December.
Yes.
And you found it when?
When I came back May 9th or 8th, I mean.
Yeah, do me a favor. Return that to her. Tell me about the damaged car.
She damaged my car, parallel parking it.
When?
In November, the first week of
November
November.
of 06?
Yes, ma'am.
Show me the bill where you had it fixed.
I haven't gotten it fixed yet. I haven't had the money. But I have an estimate from where we both took it in. She came with me when I
No.
got the estimate.
Oh, well, tell me how it happened.
Oh, she parallel.
I
She
didn't
was in.
ask
He
you.
was in the car. I wasn't in the car. She asked to borrow my car one day, and she brought it back with these scratches on the front bumper.
Let
he
me
was
see
in
the
car.
pictures of the front bumper. How did you scratch the bumper?
I didn't scratch the front of her car.
Who did?
Lucky. He was on his way to school in November, And at a red light, he
That
hit
is a
the
lie.
back of another car.
I have a picture of
That's
the truck
a
that
lie.
she hit also with the dent in the bumper
Just a
where
second.
she
She
hit
says
it.
it was lucky.
That's a lie,
wasn't.
Your Honor.
She went with me when I got the statement.
I did not go with her. I was at work when she got that statement done with Lucky.
She had borrowed Amanda's car, and I needed to go home that following morning.
He was
and
living
she
with
had,
us. Why would I
I
take him
don't
home?
want you to interrupt. If you interrupt again, it's not going to be good for you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So on the way taking me home to my mother's house, she was trying to parallel park in front of another car, and she hit the back.
On the way, she was trying to parallel park?
No, when we got to my mother's house.
Why park if she was just
Because
dropping you off?
Because she was parking to drop me off.
Why was she parking to drop you off? Why didn't you just come?
She was the driver.
Yeah, I don't believe it. Goodbye. You all deserve each other. That's it. Case is dismissed. Take him outside for a
Julie and David Cotton are suing family friend, 18-year-old Dylan Strittmatter, for crashing a golf cart during their wedding reception. Dylan claims he is not guilty.
Who was getting married?
Julie and I.
According to your complaint, Miss Cotton, your family lives on the river.
Correct.
Is that where the wedding was?
Yes.
The defendant is the son of an old family friend, and because there was so much land and the venue was spread out, you rented 2 golf carts to sort of help people get from one place to another, especially people who might have been a little older. Those golf carts were just rented for the event. It is your claim that the defendant, without permission, drove one of those golf carts and damaged it. You're being charged by the rental company for the damage to the golf cart, and you want him to pay for it.
Correct.
Who saw Mr. Strittmatter riding the golf cart?
Tristan Hall.
How old are you, Mr. Hall?
18.
What do you know about Mr. Strittmatter and the golf cart?
Well, I was the guy in charge of taking people to and from the parking to the wedding, and we were at the reception.
At the golf cart, with
Right.
the golf cart.
Right. And after the wedding, we went to the reception, and we had the 2 golf carts parked over there. And we were all sitting around eating, and I saw them take off in the golf cart, and we just went out. I went out there after them to see what
Saw who taking off?
Dylan and Greg.
That's Dylan would be you?
Yes.
And who's Greg?
I'm Greg.
Perfect, I love it. No, I didn't ask you to go over there yet.
Well,
I didn't ask you to go over there yet.
Okay. That is a lot.
I didn't go over. Go ahead.
Okay, so I went out there, and we were just riding. We were riding around for a little while.
Who was riding around?
Me, Dylan, and Greg.
How did you get on the golf cart?
Because I went out there. When I saw him riding around, I walked out there.
So you walked outside, and the 3 of you got on the golf cart.
Right. Well, they were on it first. I went out there after they were already on it. I went out there.
Who drove?
They were driving. We all took turns driving.
Who drove first?
Tristan drove first, but there's also a 4th person in the party. Their son Chase was also in the golf cart, and he also drove it with us.
Is that right?
Chase was in the golf cart, yes.
So who drove first?
I guess I drove first.
Who drove second?
Chase drove second.
Who drove third?
I drove third.
All right, what happened next?
Okay, so we're driving around, and we were just driving around with the golf cart, and after a little while, I said, okay, we should probably bring this back. So we were on our way back down this road, and that's whenever he thought he could make it through these 2 rocks, if that's what you want to call them. They were more like boulders, and then he just ran into one of them.
Now, did you know you weren't supposed to be driving around in that golf cart at that time?
In the back of my mind, I did.
And did you know you weren't supposed to be Hey, did you look at me? Did you know you weren't supposed to be driving around in the golf cart at that time?
Yes, I knew that.
Did you know you weren't supposed to be driving
Yes, I
around
did
at that time? And I assume he wasn't supposed to be driving around that time.
That's correct.
So what are you suing him for?
Because he had been drinking at the wedding at my mom's, and I had told him to put it down, and I saw them take off, but mind you, I'm in the middle of my reception, and I heard them, and so did my friends, hear them screaming, come on, let's go get on the golf cart. It was just those 2, and they were drunk at our wedding. They did take it. The owner of the
Your son was there. How old is he?
13.
What'd you do to him?
Actually, both of my sons had told them, and so had Tristan, to stop, and he
They
was
were
driving
driving
erratically.
around in the golf cart.
Well, a little more than driving. He was driving erratically.
Just a second. Where do you think it's all his responsibility?
Because he was told to put it back, and he didn't.
Who told him to put it back?
All of them.
They did not. They were driving around with it. They did not tell him to put it back. What are you, nuts? Listen, Miss Cotton,
Yes.
if you're telling me that you saw them get in the golf cart and drive around with it, And you didn't leave your reception to go and stop them from driving around with it.
My oldest son actually did.
He's not here. You, not your son. Your 13-year-old was in the golf cart.
Right, but my oldest son also took the keys from them.
Did you see that?
No, but they all told me, and the
They
owner
can't
of the
tell
golf
you anything,
cart.
Miss Cotton. You have a responsibility. A golf cart is an attractive nuisance. That's what it is for young people. That's why your 13-year-old got in the
Well, I
golf
mean,
cart.
he admitted to wrecking it and told us he was sorry.
They were
and
all involved in it. If anything, he's responsible for a quarter of it, not for the whole thing. Your son is responsible. Therefore, you're responsible
My
for a
son
quarter.
is 13.
He's responsible for a quarter. He's responsible for a quarter. He's not responsible for the whole damage to the golf cart. They shouldn't have been in the golf cart to begin with. And if you saw them and you're the grown-up, you should have seen to it that they weren't in the golf cart.
Can I say something?
Listen, if you knew he was drinking, what's the drinking age where you are anyway?
21.
If he got hurt and he had been drinking at your wedding, he would have owned that house on the river.
I can't control him. He's not my child.
Oh, yes, you can. You can put him out of your house.
He wasn't at our house. It was an open field. We weren't there. He went off in a different area.
Miss Cotton, it's your responsibility when you have an event to ensure that there is no underage drinking. And based upon what you tell me, you saw him drinking and drunk at your wedding. You then saw him get into a golf cart and drive away. And it was your reception, and you couldn't do anything about it because you didn't want to leave the reception. That's what you told me.
I didn't see him get in. I heard them say they were going to do it and take off, and people were
Miss
sent
Cotton, I'm
after
getting
them.
less and less sympathy for you. I mean, that doesn't give him any right to do that. And he's going to pay for 1/4 of the damage. But I have less and less sympathy for you. You planned a wedding, and you had a bunch of kids, including these two people, not only the defendant, who were drinking at your wedding. And that's your responsibility. You are responsible for the venue. That's what the law says. And if they had gotten into a car instead of a golf cart, and instead of going between a boulder and scratching your golf cart, which is what he did, he got into his car and he killed somebody, you know who they come after? You. That's what the law says.
I didn't serve him the alcohol, and he stole
You
it.
did serve him alcohol.
I did.
Duh.
Actually, we didn't serve him the alcohol.
You did serve him alcohol.
Well, I mean, it's in a bar area. Anybody can walk to the bar and get it.
He didn't get it from the bar. He did go and take
Did you get it from the bar?
Actually, there was a fountain outside the wedding reception that had
Right.
wine, and there was a cup there and cups, and you could just go in and pour yourself some.
And did you not look at me and I told
Just a
you to put
second.
it down?
Just a second.
Oh,
Is
yes,
that what
you
you're
did,
telling me?
Dylan.
Then what you do is when you have children and you have open alcohol, you ensure that the children who are there don't drink the alcohol.
Well,
Oh,
the only...
Miss Cotton, you're going to talk to me. You, me. Maybe you're used to getting the last word. I'm trying to tell you, 16 years of education and 30 years in the judicial system, it's your responsibility to ensure no underage drinking at your venue. Do you understand?
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost to fix this golf cart?
$1,119.35.
Your responsibility is $279, young man. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $279, only because you have to accept a certain amount of responsibility. Think that's reasonable? Sure. Good. That's all.
Elizabeth Rivera says her ex-boyfriend's girlfriend, Athena Hernandez, bit off the tip of her pinky finger during a fight. Athena is countersuing, claiming Elizabeth vandalized her truck.
Miss Rivera, the defendant is your ex-husband's current girlfriend.
Correct.
And according to your complaint, outside of school, an incident occurred where she attacked and assaulted you. You want to be compensated for that injury. It resulted in severe damage to a finger. Ms. Hernandez says you initiated this altercation by damaging her car. Fight ensued. You may have gotten the worst of the fight, but you started it. And she is counterclaiming for the damage that she alleges you did to her car that day, and also for the fact that she lost her job because of this incident and lost wages. That's your counterclaim.
Yes.
How long were you married to the ex-husband?
13 years.
Do you have children?
Yes.
How many?
2.
How old?
12 and 8.
What's his first name?
Jose.
When were you divorced?
I wasn't legally married. Common law.
Common law in what state?
New York.
There's no common law in New York unless it was before 1933. And from looking at you, you didn't live with him in 1933, so that you were never married to Jose.
No.
But you were together for 13 years.
Correct.
Come you never married him?
I wasn't ready to get married.
You were ready to have 2 children with him, but not get married.
Exactly.
I always understood that. It was always clear as a bell to me. When did you separate?
We were together 13 years, and we separated a couple of years ago, like maybe 4 years ago.
And when did you meet Jose? You have children with him?
Yes.
How many?
1.
How old?
6.
So you were with him when he was living with her?
No. According to me, he wasn't living with her.
Your child is, there's a 2-year age difference between
Yes.
your child and hers.
Yes.
How long have you been living together?
Going on 4 years?
Well, for the 4 years before that, where was he living?
In his own apartment.
Sounds like some bargain. What does Jose do for a living?
He's a broker, an insurance broker.
How long has he done that?
About maybe 6 years.
Does he make a living?
Yes, he does.
How much money does he earn?
About maybe 35, 36,000.
Does Jose pay child support?
No, he doesn't.
How do you support your children?
He provides for them.
How do you support your children?
He supports them.
How much does he send you?
He doesn't send me anything. If they was to need anything, he'll go buy for them.
That's not supporting your children, Miss Rivera. Do you work?
No, I don't.
Well, who supports you? Is not an answer.
The city.
The state?
The state.
And how long have you been a recipient of state assistance?
About 19 years.
19 years. Well, that's the reason you didn't marry Jose.
Yeah.
That's the answer. I knew, you know, you follow the money, you always get to the answer. That's a reason for not getting married. So Jose works as an insurance broker. The state pays for your 2 children, and Jose has another family. Who do you work for?
For myself.
What kind of work do you do?
Insurance broker.
For the same company?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you worked for them?
It's mine. It's an actual brokerage. I own my own brokerage.
Does he work for you?
Yes.
How long has he worked for you?
6 years.
Is he a paid employee or on commission?
No, he's a paid employee.
And what's the name of your company?
Popular Multi-Service.
Where are they located?
In the Bronx.
Perfect. State of New York is going to send me a big gold star for this one. Now, tell me when this incident took place.
It took place on February 5th, 7:30 in the morning.
Tell me what happened, Miss Rivera.
Okay, I was taking my kids to school at 7:30 in the morning because they have to be inside by 8 o'clock. So as I'm approaching the school, I see Athena Hernandez coming out of the school. And then as I'm getting closer, she's running back in the school. So as I'm approaching inside the school, she's coming out. And she's coming out saying a smart remark.
Just tell me what she said.
She said, haha, I have a car.
Go ahead.
So I looked at her, I was like, come on, boys, let's keep on going inside. That's not necessary. So I gave them my blessings, I walked them inside, and then I stood about 10 minutes inside. I came out, she's still out there, parked in front of the school. She pulled down her window, she started cursing at me, and she spit at me. So I spit at her right back. And I continued walking home. As I continue walking home, I'm turning the corner, ready to cross the street. As I'm crossing the street, she turns the car in a one-way, she eats the stop sign, and she hits me with the car. I got surprised, I fell down. So as I'm getting up, she rushes out the car and she starts attacking me. So I'm trying to defend myself. So I'm trying to unzip my coat to put my hands up. So I finally took off my coat and she kept on attacking me, and then she snatched my coat, ran back in the car. So at that moment I was like, help, help, somebody, can I have a cell phone to call 911? I need to call 911. I'm being attacked. Somebody finally let me call. So I'm like, help, 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 please come, I'm being assaulted over here. So I see her rushing back out. She's like, calling your son? Who are you calling, huh? When I see her coming out, I pick up the stick to start her to see if the cops come. And I'm taking off my boots. And I'm like, leave it alone, leave it alone, leave me alone.
You're taking off your boots?
Yeah, because I had some boots up to my knees, and they were high, and they were tight, and I kept on falling. So to have my balance and protect myself, and I'm like, leave me alone already, leave me alone. The cops are coming, leave me alone. She was like, no. She smacks the stick out of my hand, and she attacks me. And I feel somebody else behind me push me against the gate, and she just kept on hitting me, boom, 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 boom. And I kept on defending myself, and she bit my finger. And she said, ha, ha, look at your finger on the floor, and that's when the cops came. And I was just, it hurted so much, it was unbelievable.
So it was the tip of your pinky finger that she bit off?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Hernandez, tell me your version of the events.
Okay. My child and her 2 children attend the same school. It's not the first time that we see each other. But every time we see each other, she has something to say, whether it's indirect, under her breath, whatever. Usually I just let it go, you know, give her a, you know, smirk, whatever. This morning...
Let me stop you just for a second, just for my own information. Are you nice to Jose?
Yeah.
Are you nice to Jose?
Yes.
Because you said nice things about him before. You said if the kids need anything, he gets it for them. And I assume that you're still living with him, that you think he's a nice guy.
Correct.
And I assume you don't like her.
I don't have anything against her.
I assume you're not crazy about her because I believe that there is this underlying current of animus, anger, that the 2 of you have, and you're not crazy about her. Is that right?
That's correct.
And that I don't understand. You see, you look like 2 relatively normal women. Jose's the bad guy, not you. He was 2-timing you. He was 2-timing you. There's no question in my mind. So you all make up with Jose and fight with each other. 2 women fighting with each other when the bad guy is off doing what he's doing, maybe with somebody. Never can tell. That's his history. That just is so foolish to me. And you're not the first 2 women that I've seen do this kind of ridiculous fighting over some worthless piece of trash guy who doesn't support his children, lets the state do it, lived a lie for at least 4 years. Why do you look puzzled, madam?
Because according to what I know, the state supports her.
State supports the children unless he provides support through the court. The state supports her children. That's why she didn't marry him, or that's why he didn't marry her. They had a little extra cash. He's not going to have that extra cash anymore because they're going to attach his salary, which you just swore under oath that you paid him the last 6 years. They're going to go back and take it out for 6 years' worth of money. Let's move on with February 5th at 7:30 in the morning.
I'm getting out of my vehicle, dropping off my daughter. I run into school. It was freezing that day. As I'm leaving the school, she's entering the school with her 2 children. She tells her oldest son, I'm just effing showing off. I look at her, I said, you know what, why don't you just take your kids into school and shut up? I don't have effing time for this. I'm going towards my truck.
Nice talk in front of the children.
I go towards my truck.
Both of you, as a matter of fact, because I absolutely believe that that happened.
First of all, I go towards my truck. She puts her kids through, there's 1 door, 2nd door, leaves them in there, runs back out, starts taking off her coat, telling me I've been dying to kick your for the last 8 years. Get out of the truck. I'm in the truck and I'm laughing at her while she's taking off her clothes. Mind you, it's 8 degrees outside. Now she starts kicking my passenger door, gets in front of my truck, bangs on the hood. I'm honking the horn for her to get out of the way. I can't drive fast because there's parents dropping off their children, and we're in front of a school and they have speed bumps. If not, I would have went around and kept going. Couldn't do that. I went up, moved up a little, she moved over, right? As I'm going towards, there was a stop sign.
Just a minute. You have a big business?
It's a small business, not that big.
In case somebody has to reach you at your business when you're out with your child, how do they do that?
My cell phone.
Which works?
Which I didn't have.
I don't believe that. You don't walk out of the house in 8-degree weather in a car without your cell phone.
Your Honor, I didn't even have a bra on.
I don't care whether you had your bra. You may go out without a bra, but nobody goes out without their cell phone. So I don't believe that.
Okay.
Absolutely don't believe that you didn't have your cell phone. So if you have this nut banging on your car looking to fight with you, what is the last thing you do, Miss Hernandez? The last thing you do. You have a nutty person, takes off her coat in 8-degree weather, starts banging on your car, damaging your car. What is the last thing a woman does? Gets out of the car. So what I want to know is, how did her finger get bitten off if you stayed in the car?
I didn't stay in the car.
Why not?
Because she spit at me through the window.
First of all, why is the window open if it's 8 degrees outside?
Because
when it's 8 degrees outside, when I used to live in New York, the first thing I did was make sure those windows were up and the heat was on, not keep the windows down. So why, Miss Hernandez, were the windows down?
I rolled down the passenger window.
For what?
To curse her out and tell her to go home.
Got it?
Got it.
You have some crazy person who's attacked your car, who's hell-bent on attacking you. Why in the world would a businesswoman who has apparently a successful small business, so she's savvy, Why would she get out of the car where she's safe to confront some lunatic?
Years.
Why would you do that?
Because I was tired of her. I was tired of her.
So you got out of the car to beat her up?
No, to return the favor.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no. Don't believe that for a minute. Not for a second. Believe you got out of the car to beat her up. That's what you did. You got out of the car to beat her up. And Miss Rivera, there isn't a question in my mind that you attacked her car. Not a question in my mind that the situation happened exactly the way you told me it happened, with a few minor changes, that she beat you up because she was furious. And there isn't a question in my mind that she banged on your car before you got out of the car and beat her up. Now, who is this, by the way?
This is my son. He's been supporting me through my pain and suffering.
You wouldn't have had any pain and suffering if you hadn't started to rail on her car.
Your Honor, this has been going on for a long time.
Miss Rivera, I'm not interested in a long time.
She's been sending me letters through the mail and harassing me and everything.
Were you arrested?
Many years ago.
Arrested for this case?
Well, yes. Correct.
Were you arrested?
Yes.
For this case?
Yes.
And what happened when you went to court on this case, Miss Rivera? Because you were arrested, I assume, for either vandalism or harassment. What happened with that case?
They just gave me a fine of $95. They were going to give me a misdemeanor, but they saw that...
Don't tell me what they saw. You must have pled guilty if you had to pay a fine.
Yes, I did.
What did you plead guilty to?
To vandalizing.
Right. There you go. That's exactly what I surmised happened. You vandalized her car, and you pled guilty to that in a criminal proceeding.
They didn't tell me it was for her vehicle. They just said it's for the...
For vandalizing. What did you think you were vandalizing? The snow?
Well,
vandalizing her car.
She can't prove that I dent anything.
Miss Rivera, you pled guilty in a criminal proceeding. Finished. It's over. Now, Miss Hernandez, you were arrested for assault.
Yes, correct.
And what happened with that case? Were you found guilty?
Yeah.
For assaulting her?
Yes.
Oh, this case is over. Wish I would have known that before we started. You have to pay for her injuries because you pled guilty to assaulting her.
She didn't pay for medical bills. The state did.
No, no, no. I'm not giving her a dime for her medical bills because she doesn't have any medical bills. But you assaulted her. She has to be compensated for that. And you have to pay for her truck because you started it.
Why would I have to pay if she don't have no evidence I did anything to her
Oh,
truck?
yes, she does. Because you pled guilty to vandalizing her truck. Now, you have pictures of the truck?
No, I have an estimate.
I'd like to take a look at it. And is that the finger that she bit?
Yes, and I have the estimate of my finger, too.
I don't need an estimate for your finger. You have Medicaid, is that correct?
Yes, I do, but Medicaid doesn't pay to fix my finger.
Nothing you can
I have
do
to estimate
There
on
is
that.
absolutely nothing you can do to fix your finger. Absolutely nothing. They cannot reattach it anymore.
Yes, they could. I have it here. What they're going to do to it and everything.
Listen to me. Not at this stage of the game. Now, you have any other children other than these two children?
I have one more, which is Jose.
That's it?
3 boys, yes.
His father is not Jose.
No.
How old are you?
20.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a sales associate at Macy's on 34th Street.
And
I go to college, John Jay.
Perfect. You get along with Jose?
Somewhat.
Smart. On your claim, Miss Rivera, I am awarding you for pain and suffering $1,500. I would have ordered more, except you precipitated this attack by vandalizing her car.
But she also...
I'm speaking. I'm ruling now. I heard you. I'm awarding you $800 on your counterclaim to fix your car, which I am deducting from her award. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Which means, Miss Rivera, $700, because I've deducted the $800 that she's getting for the truck. I'm speaking, and you get nothing, but you get your truck fixed. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
And I'm going to suggest, if you are two decent human beings, and you both made the mistake of falling for Jose, you put this animosity to rest. It should be over. You don't want him anymore. You got him for now. Maybe you won't have him in 5 years, but you got him for now. You may not be happy when they start taking money out of his pay. A whole bunch of money, because that's what they're going to do. That's what the state of New York's going to do. You can't escape your responsibility. If you make children, you have to support them. And is there any reason why you don't work? What are you looking over here for? Is there any reason why you don't work?
Yes, I don't work because my reading is not too great.
You don't have to read for every job.
If you can find me one, I'm willing to work.
It's not my job to look for a job for you, madam.
No one wants
You've
to
been
read
on
my-
welfare 19 years. It's time to move on. There are lots of jobs that you can do where you don't have to be able to read War and Peace. That's all. Step out.
22-year-old Christina Munoz is suing her former friend, 21-year-old Erica Miloserdorf, for accidentally killing her Maltese puppy when she fell on her.
Miss Miloserdorf, you had a terrible accident with the plaintiff's puppy. You want to tell me what?
The plaintiff in
Your
Vegas.
friends?
My friends for the weekend. And we were outside. She went to go get her mail. We took her little Maltese dog, Isis. And when we came back, she asked me to watch her dog, left me responsible to watch the dog when she went upstairs to put the mail away. I was playing with the dog outside. The dog went under my leg. The leash wrapped around my ankle, and I tripped and I fell on top of the dog. Unfortunately, it collapsed the dog's ribs and punctured the dog's lungs, and it died on the way to the hospital.
And you want her to pay
Yes.
for the dog?
Yes.
And?
I don't think it's fair. It's an accident that happened. It's a responsibility that shouldn't have been left on me. I was watching it as a favor for her while she went upstairs.
You could have declined.
I could have, but I didn't because I didn't even think anything was going to happen.
Of course not. Let me ask you this question. What's your first name?
Erica.
Erica. How did you get to your friend's house?
I drove.
Let's say instead of the dog wrapping itself around your legs, you accidentally ran over her dog with your car.
It'd still be an unfortunate accident, but maybe then I'd feel responsible. But this is an accident. I accidentally fell and tripped over.
You mean
the
it was a
dog.
double accident?
Yeah.
Well, you're responsible. You're walking this puppy on the leash. You're holding the puppy on the leash. It's your responsibility to see to it that the puppy doesn't entwine itself around your legs. You didn't mean for it to happen. You were trying to pay attention, I assume, but you didn't do a good enough job.
But it wasn't my responsibility.
It
though.
was your responsibility. You assumed the responsibility. Now, sometimes things happen that you have no control over. But in this case, you had control over it. It was due to your negligence that the puppy got entwined in your leg. The puppy can't think about that. You're supposed to think about it. I really am trying to explain it to you so that you'll understand it, because I don't think that you are a bad person. I just think that you are misguided. So I'm trying to give you guidance. How much was the puppy?
It was $14.99.
Did you replace her?
Well, we got a gift from my parents saying that we got a new Maltipoo. So it wasn't the full Maltese, it was a Maltese and a poodle.
They're cute.
They are cute. They are very cute. But, I mean, the Maltese was a purebred compared to now it's a half-breed, so.
Well, Maltese and poodles are wonderful little dogs because they have a great coat that you don't have to deal with as much, right?
Yes.
And they don't yap as much.
No, she does not bark at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I had Maltese.
Oh.
I know. They bark all the time. All the time. Anyway, you owe the price of the dog, $1,499 judgment for the plaintiff. Are you still friends?
Probably not after this.
Well, you should be. It was an accident.
Yeah, it was an
It
accident.
was an accident. It's an accident that she was responsible for, but it was still an accident.
Yes.
That's all. Thank you.
What is your excuse? You may step up. Erica Heskett says ex-boyfriend Joseph Seekert owes for loans and an assault.
Miss Hesketh, the defendant used to be your boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
And you, as so many other women who have appeared before me over the years, gave him some money.
Yes,
A
ma'am.
lot of money.
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't look like a very, very rich girl, so you look as if this money really put a dent in your wallet.
Yes, ma'am.
In addition, you claim not only to have given him money, but to have been the victim of his bad temper.
Yes, ma'am.
You claim that he assaulted you, and you want him to be responsible for that as well. Mr. Seegert says that there was, over the course of your relationship, money moved back and forth. There was never any understanding that he was going to repay this money that you gave him. He doesn't much talk about the assault, but he will today. So, when did you and the defendant start to live together?
Ma'am, we first started living together around 13 September of '06.
And did you move in together to a place, or did he move into your apartment?
Ma'am, he's on parole. He got released from parole and got what is called live-outs. So therefore, he was given permission to live with me in my condo and do a work release type program.
What were you in prison for, Mr. Seegert?
I was DWI. It was a suspended sentence, Your Honor.
So you weren't in prison?
No, ma'am.
When did you move into her apartment, sir? On September 13th?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what was the financial arrangement, Mr. Seegert, when you moved into her apartment?
There wasn't none. There was no agreement whatsoever. And when I basically found another place, which was back with my parents, then I moved out.
When was that?
Well, September 13th I moved in, so I would say October and November was when we were splitting up a lot, fighting.
Is that right?
Ma'am, he moved out the 13th of, was the final day when all the stuff got removed from my residence.
Okay. So let's hear about the money you claim he owes you.
Okay, around the 26th of August, he had to go down to Texas for his child support hearing. Basically, he owed around $15,000 in back child support. They were going to throw him in jail, and he had to go to court down there. He stressed the importance of being able to see his daughter and have his daughter into his life, and really was upset and asked me for help. I went at that time with him to City Financial Bank, and I took out a loan for $5,000. I then turned around and deposited that money into my account. I transferred $3,000 from savings to checkings on the 29th so I could write the check of check number 1222.
For what?
For his attorney, for the retainer.
And how did you get the name of the attorney?
He had provided the name of the attorney, ma'am.
And how did you get the city and state of the attorney?
He provided it, ma'am.
And how did you get the amount that was owed the attorney?
He provided it, ma'am.
Did you speak to the attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And you got the telephone number from?
The defendant.
Is that all correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, when you sent this money down, what kind of discussion did you have with Mr. Siegert with regard to the money?
Ma'am, he promised that he would pay me back on the monthly payments that were due, and he claimed that
because this was a loan that you were going to be paying back. You didn't just take money out of your bank. And how much were the monthly payments?
They were around $148 a month.
That's a pretty exact number. Were they $148 a month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so that's the first amount of money. What else?
The other amounts that I helped him out with was basically the rent, which we had the agreement.
Forget rent. If he didn't pay the rent the first month, you should have kicked him out. Anything else?
I don't believe so.
Now you want to tell me about when this assault allegedly took place?
Yes, ma'am. The assault happened on 31 December at around 12:30 in the morning. The defendant came over. He had still had house keys since he had previously moved out on the 13th. He came in. He was drunk at the time, came into my bedroom, was trying to talk to me while he was drunk. I told him to get out. We got into a fight because I threatened to call the police. And basically, he slapped the cell phone out of my hands. He grabbed me. I was on the chair, and he pinned me down. He had one hand over my nose and one over my mouth, and he says, "How does it feel knowing that I've got your life in my hands?" I then told him to get off. I couldn't catch my breath, and I proceeded to just get extremely dizzy and sick.
And he left?
He left, but he took my vehicle in the process.
Okay, did he return the vehicle?
The cops contacted him. The vehicle got returned.
You called the police?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you arrested that day, sir?
No, Your Honor.
How did they get the car?
I ended up bringing it back to her because reported phone calls and stuff like that and threats. So I brought it back. I didn't want any more conflict whatsoever. But if you don't mind, Your Honor, the only evidence I have against that assault is right here from my PO stating...
Don't tell me what your PO states.
Okay.
Let's get to this money that Ms. Haskett laid out for you. $3,000 you acknowledge she gave towards your attorney.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, is this a retainer for an attorney, or was this to pay your child support?
An attorney.
An attorney for what?
For child support, I was fighting for custody and to take care of the back child support.
Why were you fighting for custody?
Well, I wanted to get my rights back.
What rights?
The standard visitation rights.
So, well, there's a difference between custody and visitation. So what were you fighting for?
Just my visitation and to get back child support readjusted.
Well, did you get the back child support readjusted?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
To what?
It is down to about $7,000, and now I'm paying extra each month to get it back down.
Wouldn't it have been smarter to save the $3,000 for the lawyer and just give the $3,000 to your child?
I couldn't. I had to fight for myself. Because if I did not go down there and get it reduced, yes, because it was an outrageous amount.
Well, how much was it a week?
It was a week. They didn't know my income right at the time because...
Don't tell me what they didn't know. I asked you a specific question. What was the amount of child support you were supposed to pay?
$384 a month.
Well, that's not an outrageous amount.
Well, it's, for one child, you don't get a C.
How much were you supposed to pay that you didn't pay a month?
$384 a month, Your Honor.
That was not an exorbitant amount.
No, it wasn't.
Why didn't you pay it?
Because I wasn't seeing her. She wouldn't let me.
Why didn't you go to court?
I was in the process of it. I didn't have the money.
You don't need money to go to court. Every domestic relations court in this country, you can appear pro bono if you want to, if it's important to you.
Very.
Just, if it was important to you, that's what you do. In any event, why should Miss Hassett pay this $3,000 for a lawyer that you needed to keep you out of jail because you didn't pay child support?
Because I actually had an agreement with my attorney on payment plans.
So why didn't you pay her? She has to pay $148 a month. How much were you supposed? If you were supposed to pay your lawyer a payment plan, how much were you supposed to pay your lawyer a month?
It was going to be $100 a week.
$100 a week, which is $400 a month.
Yes.
Well, this was only $148 a month. Why didn't you pay her?
She was paid, Your Honor.
How?
By cash,
No, that's not what you say here. I have your answer. And when you had time to write this answer, you had time to reflect. So don't give me a lot of baloney. The only thing that you say here is that you gave her a $2,800 settlement check. It's the only thing that you say that you gave her. Am I correct? That's what you say here. And you say there was money back and forth. But as far as this $3,000 is concerned, what you say, Mr. Siegert, is she took it upon herself to pay the lawyer. I never asked her.
She did. That's exactly how. She was being...
Who are you?
I'm his mother.
I would suggest you be quiet. So far, you haven't done a good job.
But, Your Honor, I...
Got it?
Yeah.
And I would keep the relationship to myself, especially today.
Your Honor, I did not ask her to go get the $3,000.
What I'm asking you, sir, is if you had an arrangement with the lawyer to give him $100 a week,
yes,
which is $400 a month, and she laid it out, why didn't you give her the $400 a month until the $3,000 was paid off?
It was paid off, Your Honor.
Tell me how. That's what I'm listening.
By a settlement check. I was getting at it.
Well, then
I
get
got
there.
It. I received it in January 7th.
Settlement check for what?
I was fired for wrongful reasons.
Did you receive that $2,800
No, ma'am.
check?
No, ma'am.
Show me proof.
I have no proof, Your Honor, due to the fact that she entered my house a while back and took all my receipts and contracts
Mr. Siegert,
for that.
Mr. Siegert, I believe you this much, sir, because all you have to do is call whoever sent you the settlement check, get a copy of it, because if she endorsed it, they would have gotten it back, right?
I have a copy of...
Show me.
Of the settlement at my house.
Just a second. You have a copy of the settlement at your house. Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
I didn't think it would be brought up.
Well, of course it would be brought up, sir. That's what you wrote in your answer. Why didn't you think it would be brought up?
Didn't cross my mind. I was thinking about
You
the
have no
assault.
mind. You owe her the $3,000. Now, let's hear your version of the events of the 31st of December when you entered her home.
I don't recollect hardly anything whatsoever
Why?
because I don't drink. I don't drive.
Well, you did drive because you just told me that you returned her car to her, so you clearly drove.
Well, not personally.
What do you mean not personally?
Well, because I was paying for a vehicle that I could not drive yet.
Look at you. I want you to look at your mother's face. Your mother is looking at you and saying, I really wish I wasn't here. Why
That
didn't
makes
I
two of
send
us, Your
somebody else? Do you have other children?
Yes.
You have older children?
Yes.
Why didn't I send one of the older kids with him? Why am I subjecting myself to sitting here and having a television camera on me, listening to this child that I reared? Listen, tell me about the 31st of December.
31st of December. Yes, she did call and report that I did assault her. As I know.
I want you to tell me not what she did.
Your Honor, I honestly don't know what I did exactly on the 31st, but I know
Because
what she
you were
said
what?
I didn't do. What's that?
Because you were drinking?
No, Your Honor.
Well, if you don't know what you were doing on the 31st of December, either you were drinking or drugging or something.
Either I was working or sleeping. That was my life, Your Honor. I was on parole. That's what my life is now. I don't do anything that she says I do. Drink, drive, commit crimes, all that stuff. I've made my mistake, and I pay for it.
Not yet.
Obviously.
How many grandchildren does your mother have?
She has one, Your Honor.
Does she see that one grandchild?
Sorry, I apologize. She has three. One from me and two from my sister.
You don't have to bend down. We can hear you. Does she see the grandchild that is your child?
No.
Is that her choice, your choice, or the child's choice?
Neither. The mother's choice. That's why I'm in a battle.
Maybe you wouldn't be in such a battle if you paid your child support.
It's being paid, Your Honor.
Well, people usually don't go on an eating hiatus, Mr. Siegert.
Right.
Including children. They have to eat regularly, they have to be clothed regularly. So the fact that you went on a child support hiatus doesn't necessarily endear you to the mother of your child.
Your Honor, I'm not saying that I didn't. Well, I didn't pay the child support. I'm not saying I didn't off. I had her, she got her money, but it wasn't recorded. That's what I'm saying. Now it's legal through the courts, and they didn't adjust anything, and that's why it's being adjusted. from what I did already pay.
Listen, Miss Hassett, you weren't together with him very long, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Good for you.
I made a mistake.
You made a mistake.
A big one.
Okay. So right now, what you really out is $3,000. You have no difference in your rent, even though you say that he promised to pay you rent. He lived with you 3 months. You still living in the same condo?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a roommate?
No, ma'am.
Right. So your primary problem is that you are stuck with this $3,000 loan that you took out to pay for his lawyer, and that he's responsible to pay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all. Step out.
Roberta Schumann is suing her ex-boyfriend, Scott Beer, for a loan to buy a Harley-Davidson. Scott says Roberta stopped paying rent, so he owes her nothing.
Ms. Schumann, Mr. Beer and you were in a relationship for a period of time. You also lived with him for a period of time in his home. You claim that you made a loan to him so that he... Now, Mr. Beer acknowledges that you made this loan to him.
Correct.
He says that subsequently you moved in with him and you agreed to pay rent, which you didn't pay.
Correct.
And you made a new arrangement whereby he would pay your portion of the rent that you had agreed to pay and deduct that from the loan. And by the time he told you to leave, you had done several things. First, you stole a money jar from him, which you acknowledged that you did because you were annoyed. And then there were some other small items that ate into this loan. But you claim that there was never an agreement with regard to the rent in exchange for the loan.
That is correct.
Okay. On what date did you make the loan?
Well, there was two. There was 2 dates. One was 11.
One right after the other. I know. Give me the 2 dates.
Like April of 2007.
And when did you move in with Mr. Beer?
May 15th.
Right afterwards?
Yes.
Where had you been living?
I lived in my own townhouse in Blaine.
What did you do with your townhouse?
I sold it. I found out 3 days before I was moving in with Mr. Beer that he was sleeping with my best friend.
I don't care about that. You want to discuss that, go someplace else. It has nothing to do with me. You sold your townhouse, you moved in with him. What was the rent agreement?
$300 per person is what he charged his other tenants when they lived there before. It was a couple. He charged them $600.
And how much were you supposed to pay in rent?
He assumed $600.
No. What did you discuss?
It was $600 when my son was supposed to come and live with us. My son never came and lived with us. I never even had a key to the door.
I don't care whether you had a key to the door. You slept there, correct?
Correct.
And there was an agreement to pay rent. All I'm trying to do is figure out how much. How much, sir?
$600 for the basement.
Is that where she was living?
Yep.
She wasn't staying with you?
Most of the time.
What does that mean?
Off and on, she'd stay up at my place. But, I mean, it was run of the house, too.
Where were her clothes?
In the basement.
Is it a legal apartment in the basement?
Yeah, it's a regular house.
And you had a couple there living before?
Yes.
And how much was the rent before?
$600.
Okay.
Your Honor.
What?
There was also an extra bedroom downstairs in the basement that was never used while I lived there.
I don't care. I mean, I didn't get a legitimate answer from you, so I asked him. Okay. So you moved in May 13th, is that correct?
Yes.
How much was the loan for the motorcycle?
$3,100.
Okay, now you stole $100 from him in coins, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so now he owes you $3,000.
Mm-hmm.
You moved in on May 13th. When did you pay rent for the first time?
The actual, when I gave him the lump sum, I gave him $1,700 in July, and then 3 days after that, I gave him $600 for the rent that he claims...
Just a second. You gave him $3,000, according to you, for the motorcycle. I have deducted the $100 that you stole from him.
Mm-hmm.
You moved in May 13th. When did you pay rent for the first time? What month?
It would have been June, but my account closed.
So did you or did you not pay rent for June?
I did in July.
How many months did you live there?
Half of May, June, July. I moved out August.
When you moved out, did you take all your property?
No, I did not.
What property did you leave there?
My kitchen table, everything furnished his house. If I would have known...
Listen to me. Downstairs, in the basement, what items of furniture did you leave there?
A bed, a couch, and a TV.
Under what circumstances did you leave that stuff?
Because he threw me out. I had no key to the house. He threw me out. The end of August, I packed my bag. I stayed with a friend in Minneapolis.
Until when?
Until November 12th was when I moved out. I had surgery on my leg, November 10th.
Okay. Did you subsequently rent the basement to your townhouse?
I didn't rent my basement until January, I think, The first time I had somebody come in.
And when did you move out, Miss Beer? August what?
August 24th is when he bought the house.
So you owe him for 3.5 months' rent.
But he told me that my stuff was there in storage. If I wanted to, I could have put it in a storage, which was $85 a month.
I don't care if it was 8. I said you owe him so far 3.5 months' rent for the time you were living there. Half of May, June, July, and August. That's 3.5 months that you didn't pay. Or
Yes,
did
I
you
did.
pay?
Yes, I did, in July.
Did you pay him in July?
Yes, I
Did
did.
the check clear?
It was money orders that I had because he would only accept cash, which I agreed with that.
Well, because you gave him a bad check once.
It was a closed account.
Well, a closed account is a bad check. Did she subsequently pay you?
I have never seen that.
You've
Any
never
money?
seen the cash?
No, I
Okay,
did not.
so show me. Don't talk
Oh,
to
my
him.
God.
Talk to me. Show me what you claim you paid him for July.
July 24th, I paid him $1,700 cash because he said that these checks, which he had reserved
Show me.
one, I had cash. He wouldn't take anything but cash. And then 3 days later, I paid him for August rent, which was $600.
Did you own a townhouse?
Yes.
You're a businesswoman.
Yes,
You
I'm
own a
real
townhouse,
estate
or you're a businesswoman. If you're a real estate agent and things aren't going well, then you don't give him cash. I don't believe that you gave him cash without a receipt. Did you get a receipt?
No, I did not.
Yeah, then I don't believe you.
I had a check that was revolving. This was my business account.
I don't believe you. You're a businesswoman, a real estate agent. Real estate agents don't pay cash for their rent, especially when they write out a check for a closed account. They may pay rent, and then they say, may I have a receipt, please, because I need that for my records.
Well, every single day that I came home, he would lock the door because I didn't have a key.
Then move out. Then move out. How old are you?
I tried. It costed me almost $700 to get a mover to come in there. If
My
I would have
dear,
known
you just
that,
told me you gave him $1,700 in cash.
I did.
If you didn't have a key to the house and things were miserable, then you move out.
he made my life miserable. As soon as I got there, I wanted to get out.
Very good. Is there any reason why you didn't rent that apartment after she moved out?
Well, at first, her stuff was in the way. I mean,
What
it's pretty,
stuff?
Oh, please,
her
you
couch,
used my stuff.
What
her
stuff?
Her couch, her bed.
Well, that's all
But
right.
she-
You can
I
move
mean,
somebody in there. You rent it furnished. What?
Exactly, but she also said that while she was gone, that she just needed a month to get her stuff moved out. I said, all right, I'm start charging you rent. Well, then it was 2
He
months
did
after
not.
that her stuff was still there. So,
Okay.
I mean, yes,
It was
I finally
storage
did.
fee. If I would have known that, it would have been $85 a month to move my stuff into storage. He agreed to leave my stuff there until I could
That's
find
fine.
a place to live.
That's fine. You still owe him for rent, which I don't believe you paid. What else?
And then when she did move out, I got damages of my doors.
Did you file a counterclaim, sir?
I did not.
Then I can't help you.
All right. But how about for my Harley Davidson jacket that she took back from me?
Do you have a
He threw it on the
counterclaim, sir?
garbage and said I didn't want it.
Am I speaking to you? Do you file a counterclaim, sir?
No, I did not.
Then I cannot help you.
Okay.
So far, you owe her $900
Okay.
on the loan. Got it?
Yep.
I've given you credit for 3.5 months' rent, which I don't believe she paid, and which she agreed to pay. Got it?
Okay.
Do you have your bike?
I have my bike.
Good. That's all. Thank you.
Crystal Garcia claims ex-boyfriend Terrell Johnson owes for rent, the down payment on a truck, and for filing false charges of domestic abuse.
All right, you got more complaints against him than I probably have time for today, so we're going to see if we can get through each of the against Mr. Johnson, who used to be your boyfriend. Now you claim he owes you for a deposit that you put down on a truck for him, $2,500?
Yes.
That he lived sort of as a freeloader,
Yes.
but there was an understanding that when you got laid off from your teaching position for the summer, he would pay the rent for the summer,
Yes.
and he didn't.
No.
And then you claim that he filed false charges against you for assault, causing you to spend the night in jail and $1,000 bail.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson says the truck was his.
Yes.
He made the payments on it.
Yes.
He says that the charges he made against you to the police were absolutely true. You did, in fact, assault him.
I got a police report too, Your Honor.
And as far as the rent is concerned, he never promised to pay the rent for the summer. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even living with you in August.
She kicked me out.
I would kick you out if you send me to jail for domestic violence.
Don't speak to him. That's why you're here.
Okay.
All right, Miss Garcia, when did Mr. Johnson move in with you?
Late September of 2006.
What was the financial arrangement?
Well, he didn't have a stable job, and, you know, I did. So I told him, I said, once you get back on your feet, you know, and I'd always, through the months, tell you need to get a better job. You need to get a better job. You need to help me. You need to.
All right, so you need to help me. You need to get a better job. I don't hear a financial arrangement.
Well, I
Ms.
told him, I
Garcia.
said, coming June, because we are laid off for the summer, I said, you need to pay June, July, August. I told him that because he would have a job by then. I mean, you would think in 7, 8 months he would
All
have
right,
a better
so
job.
right now you have no financial arrangement with him with regard to rent.
Yes, I did. I told him.
No, you didn't.
I told him that he was responsible for June, July, and August.
I don't care what you told him. That's not a contract.
He didn't want to write one. He didn't want to write one because he doesn't want to sign
You don't have to
anything.
write one.
He
You
didn't
don't
want to
have-
sign anything.
Listen to me. You don't have to write one. You have to agree. Just because you told him doesn't
He
make
agreed.
it so.
He agreed.
He moved out.
No, he moved out at the end of July.
She kicked me out.
And I told him he was responsible from June to August. Okay,
good.
And
That's
he
what you
said,
told him. All
I
right.
agree, and
Let
I
me
will
hear
help
about
you.
the truck, please.
The truck, the only reason we got the truck was because I was my credit. I'm the main purchaser on it. I have receipts that I paid it.
Show me proof, please, that you put the down payment on the truck.
Well, I have my income taxes stating how much I got, and these are all my pay stubs that I've been working.
I want proof that you put down on the truck $2,500. That's not proof of anything.
They're in the papers that he has in the truck.
Good. Mr. Johnson, look at me. Who put down the down payment?
We both did.
No, he didn't.
Both did from what? Don't speak.
From a paycheck that I got and her income taxes.
How much did she put in?
Like 2,000,
And how much did you put in?
like 300,
How much was put down altogether?
25.
Mr. Johnson, let's not play with me, please. Don't be irritating. I get irritated very easily. The older I get, the shorter the fuse I have, sir. So she put down the down payment of $2,500.
She put down most of it.
She put down the whole down payment of $2,500. Get over. Now, who made the payments on the truck?
We both did, but I made most of them.
Show me.
I don't.
What do you mean you don't?
I mean, I don't got no receipts.
You don't have any receipts. Show me proof that you made the payments on the truck. When did you get the truck? September of '06?
No, we got it in February.
Of '07?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much were the payments each month?
$388.
Good. Now, what are you showing me there?
A printout from the loan place showing that I paid the truck and what
She wasn't even
days.
working at the time.
Listen to me. Does that say you paid for the truck, or
Yes,
does that say somebody paid for the truck?
It says Crystal Garcia.
No. Listen to me very carefully. Is that the loan itself that indicates the loan is in your name?
Yes.
And that the payments were made?
Yes.
I'm not interested in that. I want to see proof from your bank. $88 came
we
out.
would go personally to the place because we cannot open a bank account, or we couldn't open a bank account because he has bad bank problems or something. So I didn't have direct deposit for it to come out of my bank account. So I would personally go and pay them cash.
Listen to me. If you think that I believe that story that you just told me, I don't. Show me from your bank that you took out money every month to pay this $388. Not that the loan was paid, but that you took out the money from your bank for.
Okay, the only way I would be able to pay
April,
that or
May.
prove that to you is by you looking over my pay stubs because I made enough money.
I'm not looking over your pay stubs.
Direct deposit. That's the only way I could have got the money from the bank. That's the only way.
Perfect. I'm not accepting that.
Well, I'm not here to ask for the payments for the truck. All I want is a deposit so I can go ahead and have my son and me driving the truck. I don't want the payments.
Fine. You're entitled to your deposit back.
Yes. That's all I want from him.
Fine.
And the money.
Fine. You're entitled to your deposit back. That I believe that you put in. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
She gets her deposit back. You have the truck?
Yes.
You're driving the truck?
Yes.
Are you paying for it?
Yes.
Are your payments current?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Nope.
Shh. If she shows me that your payments are not current on this truck, I'm going to wipe up the floor with you.
I paid the last payment last month. I didn't know I should have brought a receipt. I guess she has all the receipts.
I didn't ask you whether you paid last month. I said, are your payments current?
Yes, they are.
So you've made all your payments?
Yes.
Since when?
Since like 3-4 months ago.
Was it 3 months ago or 4?
4.
4. Good. Show me.
He was late, and here are the...
She wasn't even working at the time to even be paying the bills on the truck.
Listen to me. You
like
said
this.
you made the last 4 payments, correct?
Correct.
He paid like $300, and then he was late $88.
If you shout out again, I'm throwing you out of here. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, now tell me about these false charges that you're charging him with.
Okay. 3 days prior to that day that I was arrested, he was not so nice, and of course I have to look out for my son, so I left. I left and I stayed with my mom. and he was drinking. He would go to my mom demanding the keys, making a big scene.
Demanding the keys to what?
To the truck.
You took the truck.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to let him drive it while he was drinking.
But you didn't have a driver's license.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you
Just a
didn't.
minute. You have a driver's license now?
Yes.
It says in the police report that she don't got a driver's license.
I'd like to see the police report. Anyway, so you went back to the house to get some clothes, and?
And he called me, and he's like, I'm going to go pick up my clothes from the truck. I said, okay, that's fine. So he comes in, like, we don't have no problems. He's trying to sweet talk me, for me to still be with him. And I'm like, you know what? No, I don't need this for me and my son. I don't need you to be drinking, yelling obscenities to me, calling me names. I don't need that, so I do not want to be with you. And then he demanded, you know what? I want the keys to the truck. And I said, no, you know what I mean? I said, no. And I told him, go get your stuff. So we were right outside my door, and he snatched the keys right out of my hands.
Can I say something?
And I was like, you know what? I was like, why you do that? So right when he grabbed the keys from my hands, I held onto his shirt because my baby's car seat,
You were choking me.
my property was in there. And that's everything that I have earned, and I'm not going to let somebody go and take it away. So who knows what he's going to do with it? I don't know what he's going to do with it. So the only way at that time for me to protect my and my son's stuff was to hold on. That's it.
Ridiculous. You're ridiculous. Well, the police indicate he was injured.
Where are the pictures you were injured?
The police indicate on the police report where he had scratches on his shoulder.
Those are called
And
stretch
his-
marks,
and
not
his-
scratches.
Excuse me?
Stretch marks.
Scratches.
Scratches.
She was strangling me.
I was not.
No, no.
That's why she got arrested. She's crazy.
That part of your complaint, Ms. Garcia, where you're asking for compensation for falsely reporting that you assaulted him, that's denied. You're entitled to your truck money back, period. And once you get your truck money back...
If it was worth for the DA to pick up, they would have picked it up, and that would have been... They wouldn't have rejected the case how they did. There was no case
Because I didn't press
on
no
him to
charges.
me.
I didn't press no charges.
If I hurt you so bad, why didn't you push charges on me?
Ms. Garcia,
It's not even worth it.
now I'm responding to you. Your case is dismissed. It's over for everything except the $2,500 that you put as a down payment for a truck that he now has. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Gazina Jacobs is suing her former tenants, Benjamin Nelson and his girlfriend, Vanessa Enghorn, for rent, utility bills, and for severely damaging her rental property.
Ms. Jacobs, you rented a unit that you had, apartment,
Yes.
to the defendants. They were referred to you by a neighbor. According to your complaint, you had to evict them. They owed you rent. You want your rent. You want the damage that they did to your apartment, which you say was substantial. Mr. Nelson and Ms. Eichhorn say you owe them money. You kept their security deposit. They did not cause any damage to the unit. They were current in their rent until you shut off their electricity and their power, and they have a counterclaim. What kind of work do you do, Mr. Nelson?
I'm a handyman, mechanic, painter. I do a lot of things.
Do you work for anybody or you work for yourself?
I work for myself.
And what do you do?
I'm a hostess.
It's just the two of you in the
Yes.
unit? And how much was the rent?
$9.60 a month, plus electric and gas.
Which you were supposed to pay for yourself.
Yes.
When did you move in?
I believe it was September of '06.
When did they move in?
They moved in at the end of January of '07, and the lease agreement started 1st of February of '07.
I don't think that's right. We
Can I
lived
see
there
the
longer
lease,
than that.
please?
I have the lease agreement.
Are you on any prescribed medication, Mr. Nelson?
No.
You moved in February of '07, sir, not in September of '06. Okay. So, first let's start with the question of utilities. According to your answer, you say she agreed to rent us the unit and we signed the lease for $9.60 a month, including utilities. Now you say you were supposed to pay your own utilities.
Electric and gas, yes.
You were supposed to pay your own utilities. Did you put them in your name?
Right before
Eventually
we
we
got evicted.
had to.
What do you mean eventually you had to? You had to when you moved in February.
Well, they were in her name up until then because it was part of the agreement that our utilities would be included in the $9.60 rent.
Not according to him.
According to this evidence in these papers, that's what it was. It was in her name for a long time.
Well, it was, of course. It had to be in somebody's name.
Yes, and until she turned it off without notice.
Just a second. Were you supposed to pay the utilities?
Yes.
Why didn't you put the utilities in your name starting in February?
Because that wasn't part of the agreement that we had.
Of course it was.
We didn't have the money at the time.
That may be an answer.
So we agreed to do it when we had the money.
Yeah. Just a second. When did you have the money?
I believe April or May.
By April, she had already turned off the utilities.
That's when we got it in our name.
Because you didn't pay them. When did you move out?
We moved out around the beginning of June, around June 10th.
June 9th was our last day.
So you owe her rent for February, March, April, May, and June. 5 months.
No,
that is not true.
We've paid her up until like the last 2 months before we moved out.
I'm telling you that's what you owe her.
Okay.
Show me that you paid 5 months rent. If you didn't give her rent for 5 months, tell me when you stopped paying her rent.
I always brought her cash. I stopped paying her rent on about end of April. I stopped paying rent because I didn't have the money because I lost my job.
All right, fine. So far, you owe her $1,150 in rent, and you didn't pay the utilities for February, March, and April. I assume that they paid them in May because then they had to put them in their own name. At least you were off the hook. So how much did they owe you for utilities?
Utilities is, I got the receipts right here, $767.69.
Now, you have pictures of the damage to the apartment?
I sure do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
There's several sets of pictures. I also have a list from the repair person and the checks that I did pay a person to repair the $4,000 worth of damages.
How did these holes get in the wall?
That was a prior roommate.
Whose roommate?
Ours. A bad selection of a roommate.
Well, you owe her for this damage.
Yes, I believe we do. We're responsible because...
You are. It's your roommate. Go find your roommate.
I'm putting in a small claim right now.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That master bedroom, I know it was their bedroom, and right below those holes was their mattress. So, yeah, you can see her head there,
Your
right
Honor,
where he...
That is untrue. She's made a lot of allegations about us, about him doing bad things to hurt me, a lot of why those holes are in our walls.
When was the last time the police were called to any residence where you have ever lived for domestic violence?
Never. Just this once. If she'd called.
Just a second. When in any of your residences were the police called on a complaint of domestic violence?
None that we know of.
She just said once.
Well,
no,
we believe that's what she called about.
Yeah,
because they showed up, but nothing was ever done about it because nothing was wrong.
They showed up at the residence because they were looking for him.
This apartment is a pigsty. Don't you clean?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we had a roommate that came in while we were at work and damaged a lot of
It's
stuff.
filthy. That doesn't happen from a messy roommate. That happens from people who live like pigs.
I don't live like a pig, Your Honor.
Well, you did. I never saw a place so filthy.
I had to go through my house in 2 days' time, and I had to pretty much tear everything apart that I had and find what was sentimental to me, pack it up, and then start throwing a lot of my things away.
Should have paid your rent.
Your Honor.
You should have paid your rent. That's what happens when you don't pay rent or utilities.
We'd agreed to start paying it off. We'd actually started paying it off. And
Listen, she's not your mother.
I know.
She's your landlord. The first thing that you did was you moved into the apartment. You were supposed to put the utilities in your name. You didn't. Then you have a counterclaim that she had no right to turn off the utilities because she got tired of paying $767 for your utilities. Well, then you had no choice, but you put them in your name. At least she's off the hook. I don't know whether you stiffed the utility company or not. I assume you did. Now, then you leave an apartment like a pigsty and you blame it on a roommate. Well, so far it's everybody's fault but yours. Everybody else is wrong. She's wrong.
I'm taking responsibility since it was my roommate.
I really think it was your roommate, sir.
We've had...
I don't necessarily think it was your roommate. I don't believe necessarily it was your roommate just because you say it. Do you understand?
Oh, I understand.
Good. I'm glad you do. Okay, so far you owe her $19.17 just for your rent and the utilities.
And that's the detailed list of what was repaired.
Nothing was repaired, Your Honor, except for the holes in the walls, because I live right next to that place, and so does my neighbor, and she happens to walk by it, and she sees our things are still being used. A refrigerator that she said was damaged that we need to pay for to replace, still being used. It was like that before we moved in.
Show them these pictures, please.
The refrigerator was not repaired, and the refrigerator I'm not suing for. I'm just suing for the repairs Mr. Bean did on my rental unit.
Your Honor, I was going through all these items. That's why it looks like a pigsty like this.
Hey, just take a look at the toilet. The toilet isn't going through the items. That toilet hasn't been cleaned, it looks like, in 6 months. You owe $5,000 for your cleanup, for your rent, and for your utilities. Now, give me 30 seconds or less on your counterclaim. Let's go!
We don't believe we owe her because nothing was fixed before we even moved in.
Forget it. Next.
All of our stuff that was in the house, she told us we would have 2 days, and we had
Why
nowhere to
didn't
go.
you get your stuff out?
We stayed up all night trying to get our stuff out.
We had
but
2
we had a
days
house
time
full of
to do
stuff,
it.
so we got out
Did you
what
pay
we
rent
could.
in June?
I was giving her a couple hundred every week.
Did you pay rent in June?
Not in full, no.
Counterclaim's dismissed. You owe $5,000. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Roselle Ricotta says ex-boyfriend Jim Leach owes for a loan to buy a car.
Ms. Ricotta, it is your claim that you gave Mr. Leach $4,500 so that he could go out and scout around for her birthday.
Yes.
Mr. Leach acknowledges that you gave him $4,500, but he says it was the return of a loan. This was your boyfriend for a period of time?
For 3 years.
So, Mr. Leach, I'm going to start with you, sir. When did you make Ms. Ricotta a loan?
The exact date was July of 2006.
And what was the loan for, sir?
Unforeseen expenses, household expenses, and also she had a very tight budget in terms of purchasing this car. So I was helping out with that.
Purchasing which car?
The car she was looking for her daughter for.
Tell me how these loans came about, Mr. Leach.
What
do you mean, sir, am I saying something confusing to you? Is English your primary language?
Yes, it is. Actually, I just had to think for a moment because...
Because you didn't expect me to start with you. That's why you had to think for a moment, because you didn't expect me to start with you. Well, your defense is that the money she gave you was a return of a loan. So, tell me about the loan.
Okay. She was telling me she was struggling in terms of meeting expenses, household expenses, and also at the same time in terms of what she was trying to do in purchasing this car. It was a lot of expenses that came up, so it was very difficult for her in order to meet those expenses.
How did you come up with a figure, Mr. Leach?
I'm sorry, excuse me? Yeah. How did she come up?
How did you come up with a figure about how much money you were going to loan her?
Because it was about how much it would cost to buy a car. I figured how much, from what I knew about, though it was going to be very difficult to find a car for that amount of money, but, we're going to try to see.
So you gave her the money to buy this car that she wanted to buy for her daughter. Is that what you're telling me? Mr. Leach,
yes, correct.
That's not what you say in your answer, but let's say you sort of forgot what you wrote in your answer. So you lent her the money to buy this car, and you were supposed to look for the car because that's your sort of strong suit, because you buy cars at auctions.
I have a friend who owns a dealership, and I thought that we could help her find a car through him.
So then why would you give her the money to give the money back to you?
It was her car. She would have to write the check for the car. She'd be
Not
purchasing
necessarily, sir. You could have written the check out of your account. How did you know it was going to be $4,000?
I didn't. It was an estimate how much it was going to cost.
Show me the proof.
Okay,
Show me the proof. I'm dying to see your proof. Show me your bank statement, sir.
I don't have a bank statement with me. I have a canceled check showing the amount of money withdrawn.
Where's your bank statement showing that this money came out of your account?
I don't. It's a copy of the canceled check, the front and the back.
Show me the bank statement. You were supposed to bring bank statements, sir.
Sorry, I don't have a bank statement with me.
That's too bad. You have a bank statement to show me?
Yes.
Give that back to him, please. Thank you very much.
This transaction, which she's speaking of, in May of 2006, because he does have an auction, and I'm a single mother, and he knew I was struggling. He did not want me to take a part-time job, so he offered to help me with my finances, that we go in on a car together at auction, and we did. I put $4,000 in, he put $2,000. He did all the legwork, he went to auction, he sold the car, and for me loaning him the money, I made a $200 profit, which was good for me, worked for him, and I do have all the statements for that transaction. The canceled checks he's showing you is the payment of the $4,000 I originally gave him in May. So that was a totally separate transaction. And I do have bank statements showing it came out of my account.
Show me the money that you gave him.
Okay.
I'm talking about the money for your daughter's car.
Oh, okay.
As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Leach has been totally unsuccessful in persuading me that he made a loan to you.
Okay, that's what you have right there is for the transaction in October. And you can see there's a cancel money order that went into his bank account that did my bank.
Mm-hmm. That was in October.
Correct.
Does this look familiar to you, sir? This is a bank statement.
I know what a bank statement looks like. Let me ask you, can I ask you a question?
Can you ask me a question?
Yes, can I?
I don't know answers. All I know is proof. I know what proof is.
Okay.
Proof
A canceled
is when
check
money...
is not enough evidence to support.
Sir, anybody can prepare a copy of a canceled check.
Okay, what about the checks I wrote to her with...
Show me the checks.
You have a copies of with her name, with her endorsement.
These are copies, sir. I'm
Right.
looking for a bank statement showing me that money actually came out of an account.
Can you ask her if she...
No.
Oh, okay.
I think you're a hustler. She gave you this for $4,500? Money went into your account, $4,500. What did you do with
Before
the
that money came out of my account, and I think she will admit that that I wrote those checks to her. She endorsed it.
Yeah, she just explained to me that there was some sort of an arrangement with a second car. Did you
I
buy
do
another
have a-
car at auction?
Yeah, there's another and she's made that claim before, and I actually have evidence to support otherwise that's not true what she's telling you.
Show me.
Okay.
Well, here I have something, Ms. Ricotta, in June of 2006, made out to cash. It says for Rosie. Who endorsed this?
I did. It's written out as...
So you cashed it, you endorsed it, and you wrote on for Rosie.
No, I wrote on Rosie, and then I endorsed it afterward.
And what did you do with the money?
I gave the money to her.
Did he give you money in June?
No. In fact, I have a bank account statement of the first transaction that I took out $4,000 in May, and that he paid me back the $4,000 with those checks that you see a copy of.
Okay. So you gave him the $4,500 when?
October 4th, 2006. My
Well,
daughter...
coming up to an anniversary. Would you mind telling me what took you so long?
I originally started suing him in December. At the end of December, I took him to a small claims court.
And what happened?
He did not show up. He claimed he did not receive the notice. So he obtained an attorney. He had the attorney file to set a new court date. So that was successful, and that's what led us to here.
Ms. Ricotta, I'm satisfied that you gave him $4,500. I am now also satisfied that you vigorously pursued the return of your $4,500 2 months after you gave him the $4,500. I mean, I don't understand why he took your money and didn't purchase this car. Is there any reason? Did you break up with him shortly afterwards?
Yes, he felt the day that he came to my house, which was December 1st, 2 days before my daughter's birthday, because I did want it for my daughter's 16th birthday. And even though we had broken up earlier in August, we still remained friendly and we'd see each other now and then. I felt that he felt we were still going to stay together. And
December 1st, he was at your house, and?
December 1st, he came to my house. I said, since you don't have the car in time for my daughter's birthday, I would like the money back. And I asked him if he still had the money. And he basically in turn said I called him a liar and a thief, and he felt disrespected, and he was hurt. He was hurt because that ended the relationship at that point. It was the last time.
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, because that's not what happened actually at that time. That night in question, actually, she accused me of stealing money, which I had not done. She was under the influence of prescription, non-prescription medication, and she had a lot of issues, depression, and she was taking it out of me. I mean, I can add a lot more insight, but, you know, it's the personal issues that, you know, that...
I don't have to go into personal issues.
Right,
All
right.
I have to know is, in my own gut, is
Right.
whether or not I believe, based upon the proof that's been shown to me today, whether or not she gave you $4,500 to go and look for a car for her daughter, and whether or not, because the relationship was over, you failed to return the $4,500. She has proof that she took $4,500 out of her bank. She has proof that that $4,500 found its way within a couple of days to your bank. You say it was the return of a loan. I am not satisfied that there was any loan that you made to her, because you gave me some convoluted story that, quite frankly, even you couldn't follow if you were sitting here. So I am satisfied that you did, in fact, take this money in the quest to buy this young lady a car, and you didn't return it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,500.
Thank you.